Red 7 standing by. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a little festive around here because Halloween is Sunday, and this is our Thursday discussion show, and we want to talk about Star Wars getting a little scary. So we're here with Luke Skywalker and Deal With It Yoda.
Deal With It Grogu. So you know
Grogu?
how they have galactic snack in Grogu? I'm just Deal With It Grogu.
All right. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, you see that Lacey is wearing Grogu ears and Deal With It sunglasses. I'm wearing Luke Skywalker's X-Wing helmet, and James Baney is here as Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. So
maybe we should post for people watching so that they could take a screenshot and post it on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what would Deal With It just do?
I'm just doing, hello.
Okay, we're good.
Right. I did actually purchase one other thing at Galaxy's Edge, which is this. Alexa, podcast lights off.
Oh my god, you got another lightsaber? Sick.
What? What lightsaber is that?
That's Luke's. That's why he's Luke. No?
No.
Alexa, podcast lights on.
That hilt is not Luke's.
It's not.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's a green kyber crystal for the one I already have.
Guys, these sunglasses are not good to look through. I can't see anything.
But
James came on screen before the episode, and I was like, James, that looks so legit. And John's like, it's a paper towel.
yeah.
I'm like, I have a legit helmet, and she's impressed by bounty being on James's chest.
Yeah.
Two-ply.
It is a cloth towel, but yes, it is a throwaway towel.
I'm Red 5, and James is the quicker picker-upper.
These glasses, I can't see anything. This could be an interesting episode.
So listen, James, do the crystals really change the blade, or do you have to get a new blade?
No, they changed the blade.
That's wild. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, so you only bought the crystal?
I only bought the crystal. Yeah, it's only like, $15 or something like that. But it's kind of cool because you can collect them.
That is cool.
And then whenever you want, you just disassemble, put it in, and it makes a different sound. They all make different noises based on what they're trying to. I don't know.
Isn't the rare one the black crystal, right?
That's so the black kyber is hidden inside the containers. So like this is the green container. So if I bought this, it would be a green container, and when I open it up, it would be black. And then when I put it in the thing, it would still be green, but like the color would be green, but the actual crystal itself would be black crystal, which is the rare.
That's cool. Cool, man. Well, we got a fun show today. A little festive around here for Halloween. Hopefully a bunch of you are Halloween fans out there. Let us know what you're doing for Halloween.
Deal with it.
See, that's the attitude that we deal with around here. Literally, deal with it. But yeah, let us know if you're doing any kind of Star Wars costumes for Halloween this year, or if you have kids or whatever. We'd love to see them. So share your pictures, quote tweet the episode, let us know what you're wearing. And then later in the episode, we're going to get to some funny stories of yesteryear of people with Star Wars costumes in Resistance transmissions. But right now, we have a segment on the show that James is going to steer us through. And what is that this week, James? Or Luke, whoever you are?
The Force is with me, and I'm one with the Force.
This week, John, we're doing something a little bit different because we normally do Will of the Force, but we decided to switch it up for our Halloween episode and do One with the Force. Now, if it's been a while since you've watched this or this is your first episode, I'm going to give a concept, an idea, something that you have to pick from, but you only get to pick one answer. So you'll see how it goes pretty quickly here. The first question, the first scenario we're pitching is you're given $1,000 to put towards a Star Wars Halloween costume. And of course, you can't just pocket the money. There's no cheating. You got to spend the money on something. But the question is, what is the one costume that you would buy or make with that money? Lacey, I'm starting with you. What's your $1,000 going towards?
This is tricky to me only because I'm stuck between two things, which is something that's more like
$500
sewing.
on one?
No, like sewing and then armor based. It's
Gotcha.
like, which way do you want to go? Because armor's super cool, but I mean, there's something about Padme's gown when you first meet her, with the red one with the crazy hair and the Phantom Menace, that like I've
the classic
always loved.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Amidala.
I think I might do that one just because it's like, if you're going to do it, let's do it. And that one's so sick.
So does that come with like you getting your hair done, or is that like a headpiece
The
that
wig.
you put on? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's definitely a wig.
I heard that dress costs $1,000 dollars.
I hate you. Can you just give your answer?
Oh my god. It's gonna be a good show. Wow.
That queen took all my dollars.
Well, I can't shake them.
Yeah.
All right.
Not.
No, what's your other answer then? Because you're only allowed one, but you know, hey, whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one. It's not two with the Force.
I understand, but come
I
on,
did
let's-
give one, but he wanted to know what the other one was. Probably
Yeah.
some type of Mandalorian armor would be sick, like Bo-Katan or I would say Mando, but I think Bo-Katan has like the chest plate that's molded for women. So
Yeah.
Probably need that.
So actually, before John goes, I'll jump in. That's a good time for me. Right here, baby. This is the one.
oh, nice.
Oh wow.
Paz Vizsla, man.
Paz Vizsla.
You
I was
know,
gonna say paper Vizsla.
Yeah.
You were like,
you might have to.
Oh, right.
You might have to cut down a little bit on the cost, like the cheapness of some of the main armor, because I'm sure you could probably easily spend $1,000 just to make the armor very legit. But if you're going with this outfit, or I'm getting a big expensive Star Wars Halloween costume, you gotta do the jetpack and
Yeah.
the rail gun and all of it. And I was like, I'm sure that for $1,000, someone could piece that together for me and make it look, you know, as good as it can for $1,000.
yeah.
But if I had one outfit that you could even put on a mannequin and set up, and then every once in a while bust it out and just have the whole thing, and everybody's like, what the heck? Like, people maybe haven't seen
That'd be
Mandalorian. They're just
pretty
like,
cool.
what are you? That's so crazy. You're carrying around the big rail gun. It'd be awesome. John,
That's
what's
what
your...
you gotta have. You gotta have that Gatling blaster thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
What is your $1,000 going towards?
So initially I was like movie realistic Chewbacca, like better than the Galaxy's Edge thing, because everyone loves Chewie. Like when we were at the premiere of Rise of Skywalker, it's obviously just some guy in the suit, but everyone wanted to take a photo with him, and he was like the hot thing at the after party. So I thought that'd be cool, but then I was like, you know, I want to do something that'd be really unique, and you guys are gonna laugh, but I would do a full-on latex, big, maybe even with stilts, jacked fish costume.
No, what? No,
Yeah.
would you really?
Yeah,
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
yeah, and I would hold other fish in my hands and like bite them off, and
Or the
like, spit
cruiser.
them out. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I would have like the muscle arms. You know how they do like the suits with like the Hulk suits with the muscle arms? I'd have the full muscle arms and the whole deal, and maybe like where the mouth is, like I could see through or something. But yeah, jacked fish, $1,000 jacked fish costume would be the one.
John wants Jack Fish to take off
And it-
so bad.
If you're new to the podcast, jacked fish is the creature in the Phantom Menace, the Sando aqua monster that is the bigger fish that eats the other fish. So yeah, jacked fish.
Well,
What, you
there
think I was
go.
kidding?
It's just so out there, you know.
What are we doing?
Well, I
guess
picked
so.
stuff that I would wear all year round. not
Yeah, I'm
just
thinking like this
Halloween.
would be cool, and I mean, I guess yours would be cool too if you had $1,000 Jack Fish latex. That would be pretty nuts.
Gotta
so,
get in
alright.
shape for that one.
Yeah, good.
No,
pick.
I got the muscle arms. I mean,
know,
I
but
already
you're
have.
wearing latex though. Anybody that puts on latex, it's like, good luck. I wouldn't put latex on.
Well, you
Well,
mean
I already
the
have-
like
I already
sculpted
have-
latex?
I already have cannons, so don't worry about
Oh
that.
my god.
Ion cannons.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yep.
This episode. All right. What's next?
John, you turned your targeting system off.
Oh no, I'm all right.
All right. Next question we got on One with the Force this week is presuming you found a witch's spell in which you can bring back the dead, what Star Wars character would you bring back to life? However, there is a twist to this, because whoever you bring back to life is going to fight for the opposite side. So think of a good guy is now just as good as they ever were, but the zombie version of them, the Bizarro version, if you will, is going to be fighting against you. What it's not necessarily who you're going up against, but what would you like to see? What would you think would be a cool thing in Star Wars? John, I'm going to throw back at you first. Who is your Billy from Hocus Pocus?
Palpatine, his first body, so that Palpatine has to face Palpatine.
Somehow Palpatine and Palpatine have returned.
Somehow there's two of them, but one's cool.
Yeah.
He's with us.
Yeah, so his first body from Return of the Jedi, that comes back, and that's good Palpatine. And then the clone version that took his evil essence is the bad version, and then it's Palpatine. It's like Superman 3, but better.
Yeah, I considered Palpatine, but I thought, who does Palpatine fight against, And so,
Palpatine.
Yeah, you got a good answer to that. I like that. That could be pretty cool. Lacey, did you have one picked out?
So I have a clarifying question.
Sure, because I'm willing to bend rules and expand on this.
So my clarifying question is, for characters that were bad then good or good then bad, which one do they come back as if they were both?
Oh, I assumed that they come back as whatever they were when they died. I'm sorry. They come back the opposite of whatever they were when they died.
So like Vader died
that's how I
good,
understood
he'd
it.
come back bad again?
Yeah, but
that's tricky.
So the reason I'd pick Vader, though,
I think Vader comes back good.
No, Vader died bad. Anakin came back. So Vader died bad. Vader was always bad.
Because I was going to say bring him back. And the reasoning because I wouldn't bring Kylo Ren back, which most people would assume, because then he'd be bad again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd bring Vader back, who'd be good, and then he could help Luke train people, and then Ben wouldn't turn bad because he'd have the support of not only his uncle, but his grandfather.
So it doesn't mean his dad doesn't suck.
Well, his dad could suck, but he gets sent to the Jedi Temple anyway.
Yeah. No, it's tricky though. The way you put that though, I assume that since Vader is a bad guy, the fantasy here is that he comes back in the suit and everything, red lightsaber, but he's good, or maybe blue lightsaber or something. Yes, but it's good Ronin. Vader. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. My pick was, and I'll twist it up. I'm gonna make a bad guy. I'm gonna bring back Luke Skywalker.
No.
As the villain in Rise of Skywalker, and just bypass the whole Palpatine thing, and just say that Kylo Ren and Rey have to go up against Kylo Ren turns good because he's fighting against evil Luke.
Oh, I hate that.
I actually really like that, and I shouldn't, and I really do enjoy that.
No, I think it's a good pick, but I hate it.
It was a fun idea, a cool thing. You know what I mean?
I like it. I like it more than Palpatine.
How could you possibly like that though?
See, that's what I'm saying. This is Bizarro Lacey. I don't know why I like it, but I do. I think it makes more sense in the story than random Palpatine showing up on Fortnite and then he's in the movie again.
I think what she likes about it maybe is the bypass the Palpatine thing and just
think it would be
have another good, big, strong villain.
Well, the other thing is the connectivity of Kylo Ren's turn because of Luke. Then it comes again.
Yeah, and it all has to do with his confrontation with him and stuff, his issues with him.
Yeah.
Get clear, Wedge. You can't do any more good back there.
Yeah. All right. John, I'm warning you. This is your last chance. All right. We got another question here. You're out trick-or-treating, right? You knock on a door, and wouldn't you know it, Grand Moff Tarkin is the person who answers. What item do you think he gives out to kids on Halloween? Lacey, you're first, I think, on this one.
So naturally, I would think pennies because like those people you're always like, what? But then he's not that giving, so I couldn't see him being like, oh, for charity.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like popcorn balls that he made himself. It would be like a weird like side thing that he does that he's like, oh, I make these, and you're like, oh God, what?
They're like little Death Stars.
Yeah, I'm not eating your homemade popcorn balls or like pretzels. Like he's like the guy that gives you stuff that's like not fun.
Well, don't take all the options.
Gives out pretzels. I'm so sorry.
That's a good one. Yeah, definitely. I think we're all in the same vibe. Maybe, John. What is your
cans of sardines?
Cans of sardines? Really?
That doesn't even make sense.
No, well, it does. And you want to know why?
Why?
Princess Leia
The foul
said he had a
stench.
foul stench, and sardines give you stinky breath. So
Do you eat sardines?
No, my breath is like a Winter Fresh commercial. Are you kidding me?
Then how do you know that they make stinky breath? I've never had a sardine.
It's like a raw, greasy, slimy fish in oil in a can.
Do you like Caesar dressing?
I prefer them
fish in it
clothed.
too.
Yeah.
Is that
That has anchovies in it.
Yeah, but it's so little. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't really mess with the flavor. That's a good answer, John. I like that. Yeah, some connection there, and it's also something everybody would be like he'd like caviar kind of thing, like only like high class royalty or something would give this out.
Here's a can of sardines.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be wearing his slippers too to the door.
Yeah, no, totally. So I had
totally
a couple,
shuffling his feet too.
I had a couple things that I thought maybe he might give out, but I was trying to stick to candy. Those other things, I was like shoe polish because I was like he's like clean his boots. Actually,
like
having read the Tarkin book, I thought he might give somebody like a small pocket knife or something like that. That would be like could always keep you safe. But for candy, it's got to be those. Well, it's also I was thinking Werther's Originals, but it's too easy. You got to go with the peanut buttery taffy things, those orange and brown peanut butter candies.
Yeah.
That
I know what you mean.
Only seem to be at your grandma's house.
Yeah. Yep. They're like little rectangle cubes things.
Or the hard strawberry ones. Those two.
Yeah. So I guess like a small little goodie bag of hard strawberry candies, the peanut butter taffy things, and Werther's Originals. There you go.
Or James, I'm gonna group the last two questions together. If Tarkin came back as a good guy and he was like a cool person on Halloween, the kids would open the door and he would take the fireballs and just throw them into the kids' bags and say, "You may fireball when ready." And be like, "Tarkin, you're so cool. Thanks, Mr. Tarkin."
If we're being realistic, he'd be the one that would have his light on, and then you'd ring the doorbell, and he'd be like, "Oh, I didn't shut that off," and then shut the light off before answering the door.
Oh, no, I'm saying if he's good guy Tarkin, though.
Oh.
No, I know, but she's saying like regular like if Tarkin really was at the thing, when you rang the doorbell, the light would go off and the blinds would fall down.
Yeah, true.
Kind of thing. We got one more, and it is also candy based. What is the best candy to eat while watching a Star Wars movie in a theater? Or really any movie, I guess, but we're talking Star Wars here, so why not? John, you're going first on this one. What is your go-to Star Wars candy?
I'm not usually a candy person in the theater, but I would have to say M&Ms. Just because
regular?
They're not too... Yeah, because my reason being is because they're not too chewy, and you can kind of have them in your mouth, and like the commercial says, they melt in your mouth, not in your hand. Right. And I feel like there's some candies where you're chewing and you can't hear what's going on. And I don't want that when I'm watching a Star Wars movie. I also don't want to bother the people around me. So I don't want anything that's too abrasive where I'm like doing individual wrappers or anything like that. So I'm thinking about my fellow fans. I'm also thinking about myself being able to hear. I feel like M&Ms are one of the easier candies that you can probably get through without dealing with too much chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And they're delicious. Old M&Ms, like classic M&Ms.
I like peanut better. Peanut M&Ms.
I do too, but the too much crunch there. So
I do
wouldn't be able to
not
hear.
like peanut M&Ms better than regular M&Ms.
Shut up, James.
People say that people stand by peanut M&Ms, and I just kind of don't get it. I go,
I like
it's not like they're bad, but
yeah, the pretzel ones. I like the coconut ones.
I think that the original. I like your pick, John, because I think that the original M&Ms are sneaky good candy that people forget about because they're M&Ms and just whatever.
Right.
Right. But I think that they're actually very traditionally great candy.
Yeah.
Lacey,
I almost
what
said
is your
Hershey bar actually, which is way more like basic, but
Lacey, what is your Star Wars candy?
Reese's Pieces.
That's a good one too.
That's my go-to, with either Twizzlers or Skittles as my follow-ups.
Follow-ups, all right.
Like if they don't have one, then I go to the next. But yeah, Reese's Pieces are usually what I enjoy.
All right. Are pretzels candies? Just asking for a friend.
Large pretzels?
Yeah,
I want to slap you across the face with one.
You said candy, but I did want to stretch it to snack, because I want to do my Star Wars treat is the Galaxy's Edge Outpost popcorn. Not
is that the
regular
red one?
popcorn. It's red and purple. It's cinnamon and
like?
grape.
Oh.
You'd be surprised. It's good. It's not like overpowering flavors. It's just enough that when you're like eating them, you're like, oh, this is interesting and different. It's just like candied popcorn.
Guys, buckle up, because come May, John and I are going to try all these things with James, and we're going to record it because content.
Yeah. I mean, like in an ideal situation, if we were going to go see a Star Wars movie and they had upped their snacks to like Star Wars snacks, you best believe I'd be getting, green milk and the Outpost mix. That would be my Star Wars snack for a movie. Oh, man. It's so close. They very similar. I think if I had to pick between the two, I went green, but I got RIP my Twitter mentions, you know what I mean? I like people very loyal to the blue for sure. Yeah, so that's it for One with the Force this week. Good answers from everybody. That was great. John, you're going to take us into our discussion, which again is going to be a little spooky.
Almost there. Almost there. We're there. All right. Our discussion this week.
What?
When Star Wars gets scary.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
So, Star Wars is space fantasy, adventure. It has its comedy, its drama, but it also has some scary moments. We don't talk about that often. So let's discuss when Star Wars gets scary. Do we have moments we remember being scary on our first watch? Things perhaps that might be scary to kids that may not be so scary to adults? Scary characters, sights, sounds, places, whatever. I just thought it'd be interesting because it's just a part of Star Wars that isn't prevalent. Like I don't think I've ever been like scared like in a horror movie with Star Wars, because it is made for families and it's PG-13, but there's certainly scary moments. And I think one for me for sure is Anakin with the Padawans when he ignites his lightsaber. I think that's just seeing the kids like jostled reaction to that, and like me being nervous that they were going to show it and all that stuff, like just in a real life sense and in the story itself sense was a very scary scene to absorb the first time. And now on subsequent watches you obviously know, so it's not as much, but the first time I had a lot of anxiety and stress. Is like, where is Lucas taking us here? How dark are we going with this one?
Right.
So just the experience more so than the story was a little scary for me, because I was like, wow, Star Wars is taking it to a certain level that I don't know if I'm ready to see.
Mm-hmm.
James, what do you?
And we're not doing a Kessel run here, so we can just
Right.
Obviously bop this around and have some fun.
That's definitely scary, but that's not the first thing that came to my mind about scary. But I'll let James go first.
I mean, I wrote down my list of a couple different ones, and I won't have to go through them all. But the first one that actually popped out to me was the Wampa on Hoth.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I had I wouldn't say. I mean, I've said this numerous times on the show that like I didn't have a moment where I felt like I was watching Star Wars for the first time. It always was kind of there. So I don't know that any of these scenes ever really like scared me necessarily, but I think that what they were going for with the Wampa was the Jaws, you don't see the monster kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when they eventually did go into the route of showing it, they wanted to make it big and scary, and they actually actively show the arm off, and they do at one point show the arm on the ground with all the blood coming out, which there's actually another scene that I didn't think of that I'm sure everybody's thinking of now. But it's kind of one of those things where I think the point of that was that our hero here is going to get eaten pretty terribly, you know what I mean, by this monster, just like flesh eating, and is going to rip him apart and rip his limbs out and everything. And to see even now, subsequent watches, like Luke is like frantic. Luke, he's like, "Ah!" It's almost like there's a bug on him or something. He's like, "Ah, get away from me," kind of thing. Is swinging the lightsaber, and he just happens to cut off his arm because he was going for him. But yeah, I think that to me was kind of one of the first. I think Empire that's another reason why it's so great, is they went into some of those darker moments and scenes, and they weren't afraid to go there, whereas the first one was like Star Wars, and then the second one is like, we need to make this a little more real or mythical, you know what I mean? So they went to some of those scary aliens and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, Lacey, what was your first thought then?
I think playing off of what you just said, where like you don't see the monster, definitely when I was little, and this is gonna make people laugh, this answer. When I was little, it was definitely the scene before you see the Rancor. So the part where they drop them in, and the Jabba's seat pulls forward, and you hear the noises, and you hear the girl screaming, but you don't see anything.
Oh, yeah.
That to me was really scary when I was little, but then when I saw the actual monster itself, it didn't scare me as much. And I think it's because, again, I think it's cute, but I think it was a combination of like the stop motion, it being a puppet, and knowing Luke was going to be fine. Because like, I think when you're little, it's really funny. Like, I wasn't gullible in the sense of like, oh, Luke's in trouble, because I just knew he was going to get out of it, because we've already seen him take on all these other people like 10 minutes prior, not even 5 minutes prior. So it was just like the idea of not seeing it. And it reminds me specifically of one of the scariest things when I was little that is not Star Wars, but in similar vein, was on Hook, when they take the pirate and they put him in the box with all the scorpions, and they don't show you. Yeah, they don't show you what happens in the box, but you see him go into the box. So it was like that kind of thing with the Rancor, where you don't see the Rancor, but you know what's happening. You know it's something terrible. That stuff always creeped me out. And even to this day as an adult, it just, like, anytime you can't see it, it's what your brain comes up with is always super creepy. That
Fun
being
fact,
said,
that's Glenn Close, right? The person that gets put in the boo box is Glenn Close.
the dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
She's in, I guess,
She plays a
opposite
male
drag,
pirate.
negative drag. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
a
It's drag, I think.
Yeah, is it just drag? Okay, yeah. Female
Interesting.
actress. Yeah, famous female actress.
I had
Go
no
watch the
idea.
scene again. It's fun. Anyway,
John, have you talked about that movie yet on your podcast?
Hook?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Oh, you should.
I don't know if we will. We'll see.
Anyway,
We just
as
did a different Robin Williams movie. We did Aladdin.
Robin Williams is the best. Now, currently Lacey, adult Lacey, I would say probably the scariest moment for me recently has been chapter 10 of The Mandalorian with all the spiders and stuff. That creeped
Oh,
me out.
that is very good. Yeah.
With
answer.
Peyton Reed, I was so creeped out at 3 a.m. watching it in the dark. I don't like gore. I don't like the kind of grossness. Like Grogu eating spiders really grossed me out. That whole episode, and look, it's a great episode, and I understand why people love it, and I loved Paul and Carson Teva in it, and Trapper Wolf and all that stuff. It was great. I hate bugs. So there's like this creepy thing about bugs, and then he's eating the bugs, and there's all this like goo, and they're chasing at it. It creeped me out, and I don't think I've gone back and rewatched it because it just creeped me out so much.
This is funny. That reminds me of another Mandalorian. I didn't consider Mandalorian. I tried to consider like some of the animated stuff too.
Sure.
Actually, episode 6 of season 1 was like the horror movie. It was
with the flashing,
villains,
Bill Burr,
were trapped in here, and Mando was like the serial killer who was picking them off one by one, and they were running through, and the lights kept turning off and back on, and he would be like closer down the hallway and everything. They absolutely went horror theme for that one episode. I kind of forgot about that, so I'm glad you mentioned all the bugs, which are also like,
the bugs,
if you're scared of spiders, geez, it's got to be the worst.
I just don't like bugs.
That is scary. No, that scene is scary because it's like, well, also because you're worried about Grogu.
The anxiety, Grogu's whining, and then you see these things moving, and you're like,
the eggs are pulsing. When the eggs are pulsing, and
it's also it's kind of Starship Troopers-y, the way the spider is like coming at you like an insect, but it's like gonna kill you.
And then they're in the ship, and they're like attacking little baby Grogu, and you're like, get off of him, and he's yelling, and then they're poking through the ship.
It's
oh my god,
stressful.
so much anxiety.
Yeah. John, you got some more? What other ones you got?
So I was thinking of putting myself in the shoes of a kid watching the new Star Wars stuff, and I think like Rey's journey, maybe even Kylo's journey, but more so Rey, because she's good. Her journey into Exegol and the Sith Citadel.
That stuff's
and
creepy.
The flashing lights, the creepy sounds, the clone facility, just how dark it is, how ominous, and then Palpatine kind of creeps up with the machine. Like, I could see, because there were things when I was a kid that I was really scared of that I watch back now. I'm like, that is stupid. That is not scary at all. This, though, I could see, like, when people like watched it when they were like 8, growing up, be like, oh my god, this scared me so much, and I understand why. Like, it's very creepy, and I bet there were kids that were probably scared of it when they watched it in the theater or something, where the parents had to either cover their eyes or walk out at that moment or something like that. I'd love to hear if people had those stories. I'd not love to hear it, but I'm curious to hear if people had those stories. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of that, and not so much like, I remember this scaring me, but
Rey dying, that whole scene is terrifying, not as just a kid, but as an adult. When she died, I was like, this is bold, because they show her face dead. It's not like from far away that they're like,
she's scary, though.
It is scary. Like, the way that she's lost all the life, she's very pale, like her eyes are open. It's just sad and creepy and scary.
It's unsettling.
Yes.
Yeah, unsettling's good.
That, to me, really bothered me, that shot of showing her dead. I was like, wow, this is a bold choice.
Yeah, and John, I definitely put all that Palpatine stuff in there, too. Like, that was on my list as well.
His hand, that's like half zombified.
Oh, yeah. When he gets the dyad, and it's like it regenerates his hands and stuff, because there's a scene, I don't know if people how much they watch like old superhero movies, but Superman 3, I brought Superman 3 up earlier in the podcast, so apparently I'm a big Superman 3 guy today. Not a great movie, but there's a scene at the end of the movie where this woman gets trapped by the room computer, and she gets turned into this robot lady. And I remember and I remember seeing that when I was a kid and being absolutely terrified by that, because she gets stuck and it like turns her into this like machine, and she can't do anything about it. She's screaming. Now I watch it and it's like the cheesiest, stupid scene ever.
Yeah.
But that's not the case here. Like I said, I think this is something where people will grow up to be like, oh my God, yeah, I was horrified of this when I was a kid, and it holds, because that whole scenery, the sounds, the creepy sounds, the flashing of light, and she's this tiny little peanut in this giant, massive, horrifying place that is above her, so it could like crush her, and all the statues come into life, and just the whole thing is just, well, like very creepy, that us as adults maybe took for granted, but you got to remember kids are watching these movies too. So that's why I'm curious to see if like, like an Atomodal or somebody took their kids to see it, and did the kids get scared or were they into it? It's very interesting to think of because it's a generational story. We're always talking about it on Twitter and stuff, like from our perspective as adults, but kids are watching it, older people are watching it, everyone's watching this, so it's interesting to think of like other things. So I don't know if you guys have some scenes
staying on the Rise of Skywalker when they go through this quicksand. That's got to be terrifying to a little kid, especially because they find a dead body in the underneath.
I can't think of quicksand anymore without thinking of John Mulaney, though, and his bit about, he goes, I remember thinking as a kid quicksand was going to be like a big problem in adult life. Never once have I encountered an issue with quicksand.
Right.
Pretty good bit there. But no, I was actually thinking, Lacey, are there any moments where people were like stuck, like a claustrophobic type thing? And that's actually a really good answer of like, seeing your friends go down under the sand and needing to make the decision that you're going to allow it to happen. Or
the Vexus, that big snake that you don't know if it's going to eat them or not. Like that scene is very scary.
I thought, John, you were going to go, when you mentioned the prequels, specifically Revenge of the Sith, I thought you were going to mention Anakin burning at the end.
That was another one I was going to bring. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is scary.
Because I just think it's absolutely horrifying in the sense of like when I could imagine being a kid and watching the scene and just being scared because you kind of don't understand what's happening to your hero,
Right.
And then on top of that, just as an adult, like I think like as a kid would understand like, oh, he caught fire or he lost his legs or whatever. But like as an adult, you're like, what is happening? That is like, I can in my brain try to put together how painful and what agony he's in, and it's just so terrible that they're showing you all of it. It's probably,
and it's slow.
I mean, it's literally the reason that the movie was rated PG-13. It was the first PG-13 rated Star Wars, and it's got to be from the two scenes we've mentioned that are just so dark and so haunting on screen that it sits with people for a long time. And his eyes turning yellow at that point and screaming, "I hate you."
Because you see, it's like part of me was like, go pick him up. Like he's not burned yet. Like go get him. Like or something.
Yeah. What are you waiting for? Yeah.
And then he picks his face up and you see the Sith eyes, like you say, James. And then slowly he's burning. And it's like, it's just so slow. If it was instant where Anakin just fell into the lava or something and we don't see him again until he's on that slab, it's not as bad. But seeing him crawling up the rocks and trying to like.
Just watching.
Yeah. That is, it's scary in the sense where it's like could be scarring again if like a kid's watching that. Like, oh my God, like, wow. Like that is just. That's dark. That is as dark as Lucas. Like, ever
even
got.
with some of these other scenes that we're mentioning, like the Wampa or the Rancor or something, could be scarring to a kid, but not so much to adults. I still think this is a scene that sits with adults where people are like, it's not from any fear or anything. It's just so hard to watch.
Yeah. And there's definitely more, and we probably could have Kessel run this, but I kind of like that we're just kind of bopping around on this. But
it's fun.
Like Mortis, Ahsoka getting possessed, that's scary. By the son, I believe. I haven't watched it in a while. Or the brother, whatever.
Yeah, I think she just gets possessed on her own, but then she ends up being possessed by the daughter in a good way.
Yeah,
it's all.
That might be what it was. But her getting possessed to the dark side is scary, especially in an animated show.
Luke, Empire Strikes Back, going into the cave is scary. Like they
that's
didn't even try to hide
list,
that's scary. Yeah.
How about the Luke? This is not maybe as scary in retrospect, but I imagine, and again, maybe me putting my feet in other people's shoes here, but people, even adults watching Empire Strikes Back for the first time, where Luke knocks Vader down and he leaves the carbon chamber room and he's walking down the hallway and you don't know where Vader is, and then he just kind of pops out like a serial killer. Like that had to have been a little bit of a jolt for the first time watching it. Now we all know the moment he comes out. but like the first time,
jump
like
scare,
Luke's just
yeah.
walking, it's dark, the lights go on, he doesn't know what's happening, the lights go off, he's in this room, he's by himself, and then all of a sudden Vader just comes out with the like Jason Voorhees with the lightsaber. Like there's just some of those moments that I think are scary, but as we think about it for Star Wars fans now that we've seen them so many times, we're kind of numb to them. But if you
it's
try to
hard
put
like,
yourself back to when
watch
they
Halloween
first,
like 50,000 times and then you know where everything is, but then you know you got to remember this still is scary and it can be frightening nonetheless.
Like in Jaws, the head popping out.
Mhm.
Like that's one of the most famous early jump scares.
The only scene I've seen in Jaws.
It's one of the early jump scares that I can pinpoint in movies, and it's just
we're talking about jump scares. Jump scares don't really necessarily happen in Star Wars, but I thought of a couple, like in Solo.
Oh, nice.
The big eyeball popping open
Yeah.
is supposed to be scary and frightening. Like, what are you looking at? And then boom, there's a big eyeball there, and everybody
Han Solo
even
meeting Chewbacca
jumps
is a little
back.
Scary.
Yeah. The other jump scare that I thought is the Mynock hitting the window in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yes, that is scary. That's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Wow.
Because she's
I don't know what
she's slowly moving towards, and you're like waiting to see what's out there, and then boom, it like slaps onto the thing and makes that sound that's like a shrieking noise.
Yes.
Whatever it does.
Yeah, and yeah, that is very scary. I agree with that. Well, I don't know. I couldn't pinpoint what you were saying about the eyeball popping out in Solo, though. What is it?
Oh, when they get really close to the creature in when they're not near the maw, but they're like there's the big squid
thing.
creature.
Oh, the eye opens.
Yeah, they
Yes.
like slowly pull up, and
yeah,
they're like all looking
yeah.
out the window, and then the eyeball opens up, and you see it like move, and they all
And
go,
they scream.
"Whoa!"
Yeah.
They show the scene.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's got to be scary parts. Go ahead, Lacey. Sorry.
I was gonna say the only other thing that I can think of from when I was little that really bothered me was when Aunt Beru and
Oh,
they got burnt.
yeah.
Like their skeletons. Like that
Yeah.
always bothered me when I was
I mean, that's very similar to Anakin burning on the side. It's like
Right.
there's something very real and horrifying about that.
and then
they even kind of
cut
show a
to Mark
close up.
Hamill.
Yeah.
Ugh.
By the way, did you hear Mark Hamill talking about that scene recently?
No, what do you say?
He said he wanted to drop to his knees and start sobbing and really have a big actor moment, and Lucas told him no, because Lucas wanted the audience to project their emotions onto Luke.
It's smart. That's how I feel about it. Is like you feel bad.
So, but it's just so funny because, and not to take us down too much of a tangent, but I do like
Sure.
tangents once in a while. Remember Hamill talking about, I thought Luke should have done this in The Last Jedi, and then he's like, Ryan wound up being right. Same thing. Just 30 years later, whatever, he thought Luke should go to his knees and sob over his aunt and uncle, and Lucas is like, no, I want you to do this for this reason.
Yeah, Luke
And
has a lot
it's
of those
interesting.
moments. I mean, the big Tatooine Suns binary sunset moment, like really how much, I mean, I don't want to say this because he's a great actor, but like how much acting was there? Like he really is kind of like looking, he kind of like looks down and he looks back up. It's kind of this thing where it's like, I think you describing it in the way that says Lucas wanted the audience to project their emotions onto that scene, you don't need much more than just the character recognizing his existence at that moment.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys think, like, how do we rate the Vader hallway scene in Rogue One? I know people consider that like a horror movie.
I was
waiting
waiting for someone to mention it.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't
I
consider
don't
it scary. I thought it was so cool. I was cheering.
Really?
I'm a terrible person.
But I'm saying, do you think kids find it scary because you see they're
Yes,
looking
the
down the dark
breathing.
hallway and you just see the light, you hear the breathing, and then you see the lightsaber light up. You know, it's very similar to Anakin walking into the room with the kids and igniting the lightsaber. It's Vader doing it, but to these soldiers.
Right.
I don't know if kids would find that scary. I'm very curious about that sort of thing.
I'm
And then
afraid
what
of the
about
dark, so I would say yes.
Yeah, or like Palpatine in general, like in Revenge of the Sith or something, when he's just like really like he's fully realized physically, and revealing himself as the Emperor. Like when his face is getting melted. Like I wonder if that's something that's scary for kids. Like
It's just
I'm
one
not
of those
just
things
thinking.
when you hear it though, before you see it, there's something terrifying about that.
Yeah.
I think the
or was Darth Maul
Vader
scary? You know.
I think the Vader scene is supposed to be scary in the way that they're like, it's not really scary. It's supposed to be scary like if you were there, but when you're watching it as an audience member, it's not supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be action packed, like watch this guy make his way crushing through, you know what I mean? But obviously if anybody were in any scenario where somebody was just like killing person after person after person as they're coming through, that's awful. That's an awful situation to be in because you're next and you're trying to escape and you're trying to get away. But I think the way that it was filmed was supposed to be like, yes, we know Vader, the boogeyman, the man is in the dark, and you know he's Batman, but Batman's out to get you, kind of thing. Right. And so I think that scene definitely falls into the category of like it's when Star Wars does go scary, but it's not actually a scary scene in a way. But I mean, a lot of these ones that we're saying is like kind of borderline scary as well, you know. We're kind of toying with the idea of it being scary because we're thinking that kids probably would be scared by this.
Were there any scary? I mean, I feel like we've gone through most of the movies and found one. I can't think of any. I mean, I'm sure some kids were scared by Darth Maul or whatever, but I don't know if there's any directly scary moments in The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. I'm trying to think.
So I actually wrote down Maul as a whole, and I think the reason I wanted to bring him up was because I think more so than Vader, in the sense that like Vader is like the Michael Myers kind of scary, where like you can look at him and you're like, ooh, man, that guy creeps me out. But all he's really doing is walking towards you. I think Maul was supposed to be like almost like creature demonic scary. And it's like when you see that person, you're like, I have to leave. I have to get out of here. That thing's going to hurt me. It's a creature. It doesn't speak my language, kind of thing. He is frightening and terrifying on a different level. Even when his scenes aren't supposed to be like horror, his entity, I mean, they even had to recreate Maul because he was too scary. The character they initially made was too like Girl from the Ring, and they're like, we can't do that. So they backed it off and made him this like black and red demonic horn type devil character. And every time he's seen, he doesn't talk, you know, or when he does, like he's always behind the cloak and everything. And I think Maul is supposed to be like the Emperor is scary, but he's not the weapon, and Maul is the weapon. And that's what. And
well, I also think Maul with the spider legs is scary.
I think that what didn't happen in the movies, they went that route with him in the animated series with the spider legs, then also with the regular legs and him kind of, you know, with his brother and everything. But then also later, even in Clone Wars, as it wrapped up, and you see him and he gets his own hallway scene where once he gets released, he's going through and he's killing guys left and right and stuff, and very comparable to that scene. And then also very comparable to Luke's Mandalorian scene as well. That are kind of all connected in that way. But I think Maul as a character signifies horror and a scary, probably the most scary character in Star Wars.
Yeah, and even like how he positions himself to Kira is not like a horror movie scary, but it's just creepy, the situation like she knows she's in is pretty scary. He's like ignites his lightsaber, which a lot of people like laughed at, but it's just like he's like letting her know like I'm the boss here, and
I mean business.
there is no way out for you, you know, and that's a scary thing to also be in. Which
yeah, I mean, if I was on a FaceTime call and somebody was like holding up a gun and they're just like, you know, I'm just letting you know what's going on. It's like that. Like I never had any problem with him lighting the lightsaber. It's like I get that we're like, what are you gonna use that? You can't use a gun through a phone, idiot. Like.
It's the threat.
Well,
it's the
yeah.
threat.
I mean, when we're talking here, you're talking to like this person who owns Crimson Dawn, and he's holding up a lightsaber and like giving you this eye. Like, you mess with me, you're gonna pay. I'm gonna use this on you.
I can't believe I'm still holding up my head right now. Oh, God.
So I was
Lacey,
gonna say
one?
One last one that I thought of just now, and I'm bringing this up for John, is Jack Fish. The whole scene with them in the bongo, and how creepy it is with like the one fish, and then they lose power, and then there's a second fish, and then there's a bigger monster, and there is a fear, I forget what it's called, there's a fear of deep water, of like things being under deep water. Then you realize how deep the water is and how big this monster is and what lives underneath these lakes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's
I agree with that.
Terrifying.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I'm definitely afraid of anytime I'm in water and I can't see what's below me.
Yeah. I like pools for a reason.
I'm not a big fan of going in the ocean or anything like that. James is fixing his paper towel.
Yeah.
If you're an audio listener, this is definitely one of the episodes I say, check out the YouTube too, because we're going all out here. All right. So I don't really have many more. Well,
James is like, all out. I have a paper towel.
I got a towel.
But I'm sure there's more we could point out. But let us know some that you think of as well, and your thoughts on some of ours that we brought up. And if you watch Star Wars movie with your kids and stuff, like, did you have to shield them and stuff like that? Because James and I are going to introduce our kids, and Lacey, eventually you're going to introduce your daughter to it, and it's going to be interesting to watch Star Wars as parents.
I can't wait. It's going to be one of the highlights of my life, introducing Star Wars.
I feel like me waiting for Johnny to be old enough has been one of those things where I'm like, oh man, I can't wait till he can watch it and like understand it and want to sit there.
He was afraid of Chewie, right?
He was afraid of it. Then he loved him. Yeah,
but I'm saying that's an example. Like Chewie, we wouldn't even consider that being scary. But
I mean, Bennett rode Rise of Resistance with us, and he was able to pick out, characters on the ride. I'm not giving anything away, but
don't give it away.
When people are there, he was able to say, that's so and so, or that's whatever. And I think we're, like I said, I think it's always going to be around for him. Very similar to how I came up. I don't think there's ever going to be a moment I show Bennett Star Wars, but he might one day say, I've never seen the movies, and so we'll watch the movie. But yeah, I mean, there's so much Star Wars. He's going to get introduced to pieces of it, and it's going to be his first time. So we're going to get that experience multiple times. It doesn't always have to be like these 9 movies, and then that's it. There's books and comics and
by that
animated
time, you don't
shows
know what's come out.
And live action TV. Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah,
there's going to be there maybe already is or will absolutely next year be more television Star Wars than there is movie Star Wars.
And if we want to talk about potentially more scary stuff, the Acolyte can definitely bring something like that to the table.
Yeah, it looks scary.
All right. So yeah, let us know, quote tweet the episode on Twitter, share it with a friend, leave a comment on the YouTube video, whatever you got to do to chip into the conversation, because we probably just scratched the surface and there's probably plenty more to talk about, but we hope you enjoyed this discussion. But we're not done yet, because now we are going to hear from you in our next segment. Lacey.
All right, guys, it's time for Resistance Transmissions. So I took my sunglasses off because I was literally going blind halfway through the I don't know what there's like some type of film on the front of these that like you just like start going cross-eyed, and I couldn't read. All right, so this is the part of the show where we let you guys be a part of it. So every week or every other week, John puts up a crazy wacky situation on Twitter, and you guys give your answers. This week, being Halloween, the scenario is, do you have a funny or memorable Star Wars Halloween costume story? We want to hear it. And we picked some. So let's get into it. First up is James at Slow Focus. Hey, James, who said, my son was 12 and didn't want a costume until the last minute. I threw a brown blanket on him and gave him a lightsaber. #instant Jedi.
There you go.
He shared a photo.
And he shared a photo of it, and it's wonderful. James, it's funny you say this because our James here on the show actually did something like this when we watched A New Hope. I was dressed up as Leia, John was Han, and then James was also Luke again.
Well, I sat down and I was like, why are you guys dressed up? And they're like, it was our first Patreon thing. So we're like, hey, And then, so I was like, well, I need something. I got to be Luke. I had to be Luke somehow. So I grabbed a blanket.
The blanket.
Yep.
Yeah, you did a poncho.
Go check it out. It's
Next
available right now if you're a patron.
Yeah, $2. Michael Hill at VA Flyers 81. Hey, Michael, who said, was Kylo Ren every Halloween for the last few years, and without fail, someone always says, "Oh, Darth Vader." That is my nightmare.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing that Bennett has recently gotten over. He can recognize Kylo Ren now as opposed to Darth Vader. He was saying Darth Vader for the longest time.
Oh, that's so funny. Letitia General Leia Duke. Hey, how's it going? She has the best costumes, by the way. At Oklahoma Jedi said, had brought wrong boots for my General Leia to a con, and a friend there gave me his size 11 Vader boots. I wear a size 8 in women's. So to wear, he went and got another pair of boots with something to walk around in a size 11.
Wow.
Tarkin felt your pain there.
Yeah, sure.
Next is Paul Buckle at Buckle, but it's BUCK1E. Hey, Paul, who said, took my kids and the nieces and nephews trick-or-treating dressed as Darth Vader. Looked good, got a lot of people taking pictures with me. It was a fun evening. The only problem was because it was very dark, the dark lenses in my helmet made it impossible to see anything. My elder niece guided me around the streets. Who knew Darth Vader's greatest weakness was gate posts that are groin height? No.
Wow.
Oh, man.
You guys remember I dressed up as Darth Vader for Halloween to pass out candy, right?
Oh, you did? John's done it too at birthday.
Yeah.
Party.
So I set up a GoPro camera and I was filming my porch, and I had the costume on, and I put a red lightsaber down, and I attached fishing line to it so you couldn't see it. And then I pulled it to my hand, and then the kids would walk up and they would get to the lightsaber, and I pointed down, and they would look down and they'd reach for it. And when they reached for it, I yanked it back and grabbed it by my hand and popped it out because it was one of those telescoping lenses or whatever. And nice. I just wanted to see people's reactions, and I got like nothing from most people. They were like, they just like would stare at the situation. And one kid even literally goes like that. Like he's like, what? Like, why would you even bother to point me to pick something up if you're just going to pull it back? Yeah.
Next is Kendall at Galactic Curator. Hey, Kendall, who actually just did a spice run with us on Patreon, so definitely go check that out. Kendall said, back during the days of Star Wars weekends at Disney World and GM Studios. I really wish I got to go to one of these. I dressed up in my full Jedi outfit in park. Kids asked me for my signature. I didn't want to make them sad, so I signed. Disney security came up to me and told me to stop signing things. That is actually super funny because that's a lot of the rules now with, Disney bounding and dressing up and stuff that, like, you can't be so good that they think you're a part of the park.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Especially like even on the Halloween ones, they'll tell you like you can't be that good.
You come in like the full like Mickey, like a perfect Mickey.
So for my honeymoon, we went down there for Halloween, and I remember I made a Rey outfit, and one of the things I had to do was look online and make sure like, oh, you have to make sure it's not like legit Rey because people will get confused, I guess. Next, Christian Morales at Chris_Morales_1. Hey, Christian. He said, when I was 13, I decided to be Obi-Wan for Halloween. I bought some cheap robe and a plastic lightsaber for $8. The most budget thing about it was the beard. I got a new ballpoint pen and drew a great beard on my face. I'm sure your mom loved that, or your parents loved that.
That had to have hurt so bad. Jeez.
I would do it with Sharpie before an ink pen.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't do it either. Next is Bowman S. Pumpkins. I see what you did there. At Stephen A. Bowman. Any questions?
I still think that's a great skit, man.
It is really funny. It's so bizarre. They're just like spanking each other, and then they're like, "Any questions?" And the best is the two people because that's
crazy.
two
Crazy
people-
for David S. Pumpkin. Leslie Jones doing the chainsaw dance.
The best part is the people in the elevator that react exactly like everyone would, which is like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what the
Yeah, like, is he from something?
yeah. I don't understand.
Am I supposed
Basically,
to know?
James in the elevator hitting the button. That's basically
Yeah,
what that is.
exactly.
All right. Steven said, I went to a Halloween party once dressed as Chewie and I barely knew anyone. Beer pong o'clock rolled around and Chewie had too much and kind of passed out on the front porch.
Oh no.
I kept waking up to hearing things like, where did Chewbacca go? Oh, he's passed out on the porch.
Nice.
Chewie could probably drink a lot. Now that I
Yeah.
think about it.
Last but not least is Mark Judic at Mark Judic. Hey, Mark.
Hey, way to get your handle, Mark.
Yeah, way to get your handle. Mark said, I wore my stormtrooper armor to a friend's party. When the taxi showed up, I realized I couldn't sit down, so I had to lie across the back seat. Oh my god, that's so funny. Guys, thank you
good.
so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have a great Halloween this weekend. And make sure to share your costumes and stuff with us on Twitter, because we'll definitely share a couple. We want to see them.
Yeah.
But back to you,
For
John.
sure. All right, yeah, thanks to everybody for listening and watching. Hope you had fun with this silly episode, but also some interesting points that were brought up in that discussion there. So thank you very much. Make sure you do subscribe to the show on your preferred platform, whether that's any of the audio apps. I personally like Spotify, but obviously Apple, all the other ones, SoundCloud, but also, of course, right here on YouTube. This is one of the episodes I would certainly recommend if you're an audio listener. Check it out on YouTube, youtube.com/Star Wars News and Videos. And like we said before, a real big thanks to our patrons who have been just amazing supporters of us and growing. We're almost at our next goal, which is
are
a
at our
commentary.
next goal.
We hit it?
We hit
So yeah, we're at our next commentary, which is Revenge of the Sith. We talked a lot about that movie on this episode, but very excited to do that commentary. So thank you to our patrons for helping us hit that goal. And I want to give a special shout out to our generals and spice runners. First, our generals: Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Paul Olson, Jake Houchins, Oliver Lewis, Frank Grande, Haz Aslam, Joe Ritchie, Darth Hurricane, John Charlton, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales with the ballpoint pen, Brian Smith, Matt Chitty, Joey Mayfield Stewart, Nathan Shank, and Val Trichkoff. Thank you, General, so much for all of your support. And our Spice Runners: David Probus, Neil Shaw, Double C, Chris, Kendall Gellner, Ryan Wara. You're next up on the Spice Run next month, buddy. Dave Hornack, Micah Harrison, and Thomas Hennessy, who did a wonderful job on his pod race on Monday.
Yeah.
Charming voice. So charming.
Thank you all so much for all of your support and all of our patrons. And you could sign up at patreon.com/resistance broadcast for just $2 a month. And your support is able to help us plan for the future, including a big year in Star Wars next year. So join TRB. It's a good time. It's a positive, fun place to enjoy Star Wars. And we thank our patrons for helping us preserve that. So thank you all. Make sure you go to StarWarsNewsNet.com. That's where you want to get all your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. Johnny Hoey on Twitter, writing and editing over at Star Wars Newsnet. And I have a movie podcast about non-Star Wars movies called Just Like the Movies, available everywhere. Lacey.
I can't see anything. Hi. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gillerin. I mentioned it on Monday, but if you want to check out what happened at Hasbro PulseCon, check it out on StarWarsNewsNet.com, as well as other updates with Hasbro and other things that I've been writing about lately there. Other than that, definitely please share your Halloween photos. I want to see them. Thank you.
Yes. James.
I hit my ceiling fan.
I was wondering what that noise was.
No, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks. And eventually, I don't know exactly when it's going to be because I had to go to Disney. The whole thing got messed up. But we're going to do a book discussions on Ronin that will be happening sometime soon. I'm just trying to get together with Kyle. The book has been out. Hopefully, you've read it. Hopefully, you've enjoyed it. I definitely did. We're through it. That's my review, my quick review. But yeah, look forward to that coming at some point or another.
All right. Yeah, everyone have a great weekend. Whatever you're doing for Halloween, Enjoy it. Have a good time. Be safe. And we'll see you Monday morning with another episode right here on the Resistance broadcast to kick off November. So until then, we'll see you around, kids.
Happy Halloween.
Any questions?